Hello and welcome to my video. In this video I'm going to try to explain why remote viewing involves consciousness. Remote viewing is a form of ESP, extrasensory perception, and it is not understood in science. The problem for science is that ESP involves consciousness, and consciousness is not physical, but consciousness is considered physical in science. ESP involves remote viewing, intuition, and telepathy. What I have come to understand is that none of these involve, quote unquote, gaining information at a distance, which is what the scientists are trying to say. But of course, science only considers the physical. So scientists are looking for physical means. They are considering that information is gained over distance by some sort of energy transfer, brain to brain. Not all scientists agree. There is controversy. In part, some of the evidence that we have is that there are laws in physics and biology and chemistry, and these laws that govern how particles move and how chemicals react and how cells are built, etc., and how they interact, all of that evidence shows that it can't have happened just out of nothing, chance. Some scientists are trying to point in that direction, but of course then none of them are really prepared to go as far as saying that it's all a creation, that the universe is a creation, and that God created the universe. And that's why we see all the laws that underpin all of reality. Another piece of evidence that is screaming, really, is the observation of entangled particles and decoherence in physics, in modern physics. We can see that an observation of entangled particles, no matter how far apart they are, and no matter whether it is a human making the observation or AI, there will be decoherence. That means there has to be some information set somewhere, because there's no way, if they are a very large distance apart, there's no way that information can go from one particle to another. And what is information? Is it energy? There's no way that information is going to go between the two particles. There has to be a non-physical place that we could call the one mind, or the mind of God, where all information that underpins the physical reality is contained. So there would be a common information set that defines the two entangled particles. Once one is observed, then that information set will become two information sets, one for each particle. Changes in the information in the mind affect the other particle. All forms of ESP are about obtaining information in the mind which is available. Not all information is available. We have the right to private information. But where someone commits an offence or intends to commit an offence, that information is available in the mind, as it involves relating, thus relationship. So remote viewing is possible. In the experiments on remote viewing that are now done, double blinding is used, and the argument is that double blinding makes the experiments scientific. What that effectively means is that both the experimenters and the viewers are not told what is to be remote viewed. One method that is used that is valid is that they are giving the latitude and longitude of a particular location on the Earth. This is not double blinding. In double blinding, a sender is used. The sender is given the target in a sealed envelope. This is either a location or an event to go to or a photograph to look at. The sender then goes to the location or event or looks at the photograph inside the envelope. The sender then thinks about the location or event or the photograph, and hence it is claimed that the viewer can receive that information. Despite their denials, this is essentially telepathy and with unrelated subjects. We see in the cheats that are done by inhumane people, the ideas are presented to someone closely related and with a hidden threat to focus the targeted person on the source of the danger. That is, the chief offender, the one presenting the ideas. Even the criminals used to pose the threat have been previously trivially related to the targeted person to have some effect. While they were getting some positive results without double blinding, now with double blinding, they are getting no results. And that comes in the face of some spectacular evidence seen with remote viewing by government operations. Certainly, double blinding is useful and valid in drug trials. However, I do not believe that double blinding is a valid way of doing experiments for remote viewing. All that is needed is that the viewer has no prior knowledge of what they are to remote view. But of course, science only considers the physical. So, extrasensory perception, which involves remote viewing, can't be explained. It appears to me, at least, to be deliberately rendered invalid. They can wipe their hands clean by saying the first experiments without double blinding were not done properly, not scientific. And the work done by government personnel is not science. It too was not done properly, not scientifically. The results gained by government personnel were found to be real. Many advantages were gained in political situations, so they can't just be written off as invalid. And they quite strongly point to a non-physical reality. It is certainly hard to understand what is happening in remote viewing. The one thing that is certain is that consciousness is involved. It is not through sensory means. Maybe we can focus our awareness on the distant object or event. We don't know for sure, but it is more likely to involve obtaining information in the one mind, the mind of God. This is where all information is contained. Either way, though, it can only involve consciousness. Thank you for viewing my video. I'll see you in the next video.